So let me ask you a simple question. If you took the week off tomorrow, what would happen? Would everything keep running? Well, if the answer is no, then you're not the only one, and this video is for you. So welcome to Great Boss Weekly, where we help practice owners and managers to stop firefighting and start leading. And if you're ready to build a team that works with you, not just for you, then you're in the right place. Now, in my work, I speak to a lot of brilliant principals. I'm totally amazed by dentists, by the way. I'm not a dentist myself, but your clinical precision, technical excellence just blows me away. But when it comes to delegation, well, things can get a little bit murky. Now, sometimes that's fear. It's what if it all goes wrong? You know, I give this thing away and it all goes completely wrong and there's a big consequence. Sometimes it's pride. You know, I don't want to seem lazy. Often it's just a lack of structure. You know, how do I even start with delegating more of what I need to give away? And the result is overwhelm, and a lot of people will know that. It's also a bottlenecks, and that can be frustrating for your team. And then also boomerang tasks. You know, you delegate things, but they kind of bounce right back to you, and that's going to be very, very frustrating. So today I want to show you the step-by-step delegation system that I use with my clients, one that actually works. And it all starts with a piece of paper. So we start with a very, very simple organizational chart. So grab a blank sheet of paper. You don't need any software. You don't need any complicated tools. You just sketch out your business at full size. As Michael Gerber puts it in the E-Myth, what does it look like when everything is running and everything is running well? Now, if money and people weren't an issue, what roles would your business need? So start with your main areas, and I'm currently working with a client at the moment on this, and these are the areas that we mapped out. So there's the clinical area, very key responsibility, probably going to fall to you. Operational, all the stuff that goes on day to day. Now that can include patient care, looking after patients, front of house, those sorts of things. Compliance, no need to explain that more. Administration, you know, the stuff that just needs to happen. That can be secretarial things, letters that need sending out, you know, administration that goes on a day-to-day basis. Marketing, making sure the message is getting out there. And then finance. Now under each, what I want you to do is to list every role from reception lead to treatment coordinator to compliance officer. Start at the top with the most senior person, so the person that has overall responsibility for that area, and then break it down into the different functions. Now, very important at this stage, you don't think about people yet. That's where most people go wrong, is they start thinking, well, so-and-so does this, and so that must be this role. No, take the people out of it and have a blank sheet of paper and go back to the very, very beginning. Now, once your chart's mapped out, you're going to write the initials of who is currently doing each role right now. Now, the spoiler alert is it's probably you. You're probably owning and taking on a lot more than you should be. And that gives you your first gift though. Now, this is going to give you a visual map of your bottlenecks. Where is it that you are responsible but not able or the right person to fulfill that role? Next thing we're going to do is spot the quick wins. Now, we're not changing everything overnight. That's very important. It just doesn't work. Instead, we're going to scan your org chart and you're going to identify the repetitive tasks that you're still doing, the things that go on and on and on that have to be done all the time, the administration tasks that have a clear outcome. You're going to also look at things that someone else is already doing unofficially. Now, you circle those, and that is your low-hanging fruit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pick just one to delegate this week. We'll come back to how we do that a little bit later on, but for now, make the commitment that you're going to delegate one thing using this system this week. Next, we're going to make sure that we define the role, not just the task. And here's where a lot of people go wrong, where delegation breaks down, and it's down to vagueness, a lack of clarity. Now, don't just hand over the task, you've got to really clearly define it and use a simple checklist. Firstly, what's the outcome? You know, what is it we're trying to achieve? What does success look like? What needs to be true when this is done to my satisfaction as the delegator when this is completed? What level of delegation is it? Now, you use either situational leadership or Michael Hyatt's model for this, but the clear thing is this something where I'm just telling you what to do, or is it something where I'm giving you full responsibility, or somewhere in between? What's the timeline? How long am I expecting you to take to complete this task? And then what support can you expect? When are we going to have check-ins? And make sure that you say the level out loud. I'm giving you this delegation at a level 3, which is, you make a recommendation, then I'm going to decide. So you take the clarity out of the picture, and that removes all the confusion and it builds real trust. Make sure you write it down though, because what is written down when it's in black and white is much easier to hold people to account. Next thing we're going to do is build a task machine. You're going to systemize those things that we've just talked about. So creating a task machine. Now this is a shared, usually I recommend a Google spreadsheet because they can be updated in real time, or a board, or Asana, or Monday.com. Any one of those shared tools is fantastic, but I would start with a very simple Google sheet. Now what you're going to do for each of the tasks is you're going to come up with the frequency, whether it's daily, weekly, monthly, or something else. You're going to write down who the owner of that task is, what the next deadline is, and then what the success criteria are. Now, those tools that I've talked about, they can be brilliant. Trello's another one. Now, this becomes your control panel. You're going to stay informed about what's going on because you're going to be able to see what's happening without hovering. Because what you're going to do when this becomes a live document is that people are going to record their progress using the spreadsheet. Now, the beauty of Google Sheets is you can do that on your phone, or they can do it on the computer, but you can take a glance, use your red, amber, greens to see where things are, but by people doing the red, amber, green and showing you their progress, you can see what's going on without having to hover. And then the next thing, we're going to follow a process over time, because delegation isn't one of those one-off events. It's a leadership loop, and we need to build that. So week by week, review the task machine, see what's going on, hold your check-ins with people. So say, when we're going to check in, whether it's weekly or monthly, adjust your delegation level, and look at situational leadership for this, because this really helps you. If somebody's out of their depth a little bit, then we need to pull them back slightly. Celebrate the progress, and when they are taking things on, make sure you don't just say, oh yeah, it's great, you've done the task, and oh, you've completed you've fulfilled the role. But really mark those things, because they're very important milestones for people. And this is where rhythm really, really matters. Now, different roles need different rhythms. So for a level 1 task where you're just, you've got a junior team member and you're just giving the task away and saying, go and do this like this, you might want to check in daily or every other day, reviewing both the process that they're using and how it's coming out. For a level 5 task, which is owned by a senior team member, like a manager or something like that, it could be a fortnightly pulse check. You're just checking to see if everything's okay. You're focused on the outcomes and you're focused on the longer term results. Front desk admin, they might benefit from a weekly checklist and a brief huddle. Your lead nurse might need a 30-minute structured review every month. Your practice manager might need a strategic kind of sit down once a quarter. Rhythm means that you're staying in touch without hovering, and it's absolutely the key to growing trust while you keep on keeping that accountability alive. And this is how you develop leaders, not just tick boxes. So to wrap things up, delegation is not just about dumping tasks. It's very much about building trust, and it's about freeing yourself up so that you can be free to lead. Do the things you need to do and the things that you're good at, and get yourself out of the weeds and let others play to their strengths in those areas. Now, you start with visibility. Get your org chart done. Then keep it simple. Find those quick wins that you're going to focus on this week. Get clarity, define roles, not just tasks, and then use a system, the task machine. And then finally, make sure that you've got a role appropriate rhythm built into things so people know when things are going to be checked up. I hope that's helpful, but this video really has only scratched the surface. Now, if you want the full delegation and deployment toolkit, including templates, role mapping tools, my proven delegation framework, then it's just £27 through until midnight tonight, and then it goes up to £47. And you can get the process that I use with clients without the four-figure price tag. So grab the toolkit using the link below me. Now, wherever you are right now, whether you're overwhelmed, whether you're stuck, whether you're just ready to lead better, then you really can do this. You don't have to know it all. You just need a process and the right tools. And I'll see you next week on Great Boss Weekly.